What's up, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Andrew Noir asks where Wedge and the Y-Wing pilot from the Battle of Yavin were at the medal ceremony.
This is one of those things that I genuinely kind of think doesn't have a good in-universe answer. And I was thinking about it because I've been reading through the making of Star Wars books, and George Lucas does address why Chewie doesn't get a medal. His original ideas for that were that Wookiees don't care about such things, and then the rebels actually went to Kashyyyk and they had a big ceremony for Chewie there, so he was still honored, but he passed on the medal.
He had his own party.
Yeah, even though future stories did give Chewie a medal, so like he has one, he just didn't have it there.
Mm-hmm.
But why aren't Wedge and Yvonne Verlaine or Kian Farlander, if you want to go into legends, why weren't they at the ceremony? And they deserve to be. They were as big a part of the battle as Han and Chewie were. So why didn't they get medals? Why weren't they even up on the podium? And I think that's strictly because the story is not about them.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a very simple answer for this, and it's the fact that they're not main characters.
Exactly. And people would have been like people in the audience would have been like, wait, who are those people? Especially the Y-Wing pilot, because we didn't see them at all. But we did see Wedge, so they might have recognized him, but I think that kind of is also why Chewie didn't get a medal in the movie, even though, yeah, George Lucas made up a reason for it. The story isn't really about Chewbacca. Chewbacca doesn't have an arc. He's just kind of there in A New Hope. Beloved character, but he doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Luke and Han change. They have character arcs, and the medals are kind of celebrations of like, hey, great job, you became better people. So that's kind of what the medal ceremony means in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they got them and no one else did.
Yeah. Maybe they were there somewhere in the background, or maybe they were going to have like more of the ceremony, and the camera guys was just like, nope, that's it.
We can assume that maybe they had their ceremony right before Han and
yeah, maybe
Luke
all the
walked in.
secondary characters already had their ceremony, and then they were saving the big one for last.
Right, they were the big finale. Like, you guys, Luke, you actually blew up the Death Star, and you couldn't have done it without him. At Chewbacca, you don't want a medal? Okay, we'll do you three last, because you're all kind of buddies, and you went on this adventure together. So, Wedge and Yvonne probably went through, got their medals first, and then Han, Luke, and Chewie came in.
Or
they
weren't going to do the medal ceremony at all, but Han, Luke, and Chewie were like, I mean, we kind of saved your butts. Do we not
we
get
don't
anything?
get anything for this?
So like they found some like medals in a junk pile somewhere, and they were like, guys, let's just do this and pretend like we do this for like a big deal, and yeah, we'll humor them.
Yeah, let's just give them something so they shut up about, I blew up the Death Star without my targeting computer.
Ooh. Jim Payne wants to know if Jimmy Smits will be in Andor or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I would lean towards Andor more than Obi-Wan, but there are some things that rumors that have floated around about Obi-Wan that I'm like, okay, it makes sense for him to be in it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in both.
Me neither. I was gonna say maybe both.
It does seem odd that they have announced so many other characters, but not him. And I wonder why they seem to be a little secretive with Jimmy Smits.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to let that one out. It's like, but we know Genevieve O'Reilly. We know Mon Mothma's going to be there. I don't know. It just feels like the exact same thing from Rogue One, where it's like, yeah, Mon Mothma was in the trailers, and people were guessing, like, oh, I think I saw a little bit of Jimmy Smits' shoulder there. And they were right.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, why didn't they say, like, yeah, Bail Organa's in this?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, in Rogue One, doesn't Mon Mothma have a line to Bail about his, like, Jedi friend?
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of in on that. I wouldn't be surprised if either of them were in Kenobi. Yeah,
especially if it's sounding pretty likely that Obi-Wan will be leaving Tatooine. So yeah, who knows who he hits up. When he's just, hey, I'm just checking in. I know it's been 10 years,
hey,
but I'm leaving the desert place. And anyone need some help? I just got bored.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not be surprised at all to have him in both series. I guess I'm hopeful that it just seems like he fits better in Andor. But depending on what the story is for Obi-Wan, maybe he will have a major role. He is one of the last people that saw Obi-Wan before he went to Tatooine. Andy's one of the only people that knows Obi-Wan is alive. So if he's looking for help, I guess that is a reason to not say Bail Organa is in Obi-Wan Kenobi, at least, because then that starts to inform the story a little bit. Knowing that Joel Edgerton and Bonnie P.S. are in it, it's like, well, yeah, obviously, they're all on Tatooine. But if we start to say, yeah, Genevieve O'Reilly and Bail Organa are all in this thing, and we know who they're playing, then we can start to make guesses, so that's probably why they haven't said anything about Kenobi. For Andor, though, I'm like, obviously he would be in that. It makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm. Ethan Starnes asks if the more classic horror zombies should be brought into canon, or is it an overused trope?
So we're specifically talking about, like, the zombie stormtroopers. We've got our Geonosian brainworms, and we've seen zombies in Star Wars before. But Death Troopers, the book, and Red Harvest brought in straight up zombies, like that we are very familiar with. And they are already canon, kind of. So they've been in a mobile game. They changed them from Death Troopers to just Undead Troopers because of we have Death Troopers.
Not Death Troopers. Oh, that's what they were called.
Yeah, they used to be called Death Troopers, and then something actually became called Death Troopers.
Yeah. And
then they put a cute little thing in the Rogue One visual guide that was like, they named them after these rumors floating around that there were, like, experiments to raise necrotic flesh. But there's a mobile game that has them in there. So technically they're canon. We haven't seen them in any story material, I would say.
Mobile game stuff is pretty on the line, too.
I would say it's iffy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's part of canon, but if you don't like the idea, it's pretty easy to ignore it.
Yeah, I don't know that I really want to see the classic zombie in Star Wars.
I'm not opposed to it. I enjoyed most of Death Troopers, the book. I read that on our honeymoon, actually.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So I thought it was a good book for the most part. But I like zombie stories. So I definitely think it's one of those, like, your mileage will vary. If you don't like zombies, you probably don't want that. I'm okay with it. I don't want it to be part of a film. I want it to be something that I can kind of segment out and be like, yeah, it exists in the universe, but it's not really going to affect anything.
It makes me think of the What If episode. I did like that more than I thought I was going to like. So, like, the zombie versions of the Avengers. So who knows? I might enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't mind a zombie or two, but I think it might take people out of the story and the universe of Star Wars a little bit.
And I do think it's more appropriate and more fun to do a new spin on things like the Geonosians, anything that will just put a Star Wars-y spin on it. But it's something I don't mind. Anyway, that's our, like, Halloween October question of the week.
Caleb Sexton wants to know what one deleted scene we would put back into a movie if we could.
I think everyone's going to guess that I want to say Biggs, but honestly, I don't think that scene is all that good. As dashing as he looks in A New Hope, I think the scene that would best serve the movie that it was taken out of is Phasma's full-length death in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that was good.
That felt so much better than just, like, she gets knocked down and falls into a pit. I really liked the fact that she got to shoot her own troops because they were going to turn on her, because Finn brought back up the whole thing of, like, yeah, I pointed a blaster at her head and she let you all down. She betrayed you. Seeing her get to actually do some cool stuff, and then seeing her have, like, a better death, I think. It just fit what we read in the Phasma book and comic better than her just falling over.
Yeah. I forget which movie it was, but was there a deleted scene where Kylo Ren goes into the Falcon?
That's Force Awakens, yeah.
I think I would have liked to have seen that. We don't know much about that scene.
I just recall that he goes on to it. He, like, senses that Han Solo is around. He steps into the cockpit, which is cool. It doesn't really add a whole lot. Like, I can see why it was deleted. I know I always kind of like Revenge of the Sith had some fun deleted scenes. Like Shaak-Ti's death, her first death of many.
First of many.
Yeah, Grievous killing her. Like, that added a little bit extra tension for Grievous. Like, right off the bat, we're like, oh, he captured and killed a Jedi. Like, we should take him seriously.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And I think it would have been nice to just, if you're going to kill Shaak-Ti, give it a definite, like, that's when it happened, instead of now we have so many different versions of it.
Ryan Hammond asks, what is it about mustaches that push pilots to greatness, but also death within the Rebel Alliance?
Great question. And it's been just over a year, I think, since I last had mine. And so, speaking from experience, and I grew one out specifically to play Star Wars Squadrons, and we won a tournament. Stash Squadron won a tournament, and then after that, we all shaved, and we entered another tournament, and we were handily defeated. So there is something to it. Speaking from experience as a professional pilot.
Okay. I don't know. I think realistically, maybe a little extra boost of confidence.
That's exactly what I was going to say, yes.
Anyone who thinks that they can rock a mustache well would naturally be more confident.
Yeah, when you have a mustache, you just feel like you can take on the whole empire yourself. And as Dak showed us, that's too much confidence. You should not have that much confidence.
Well, Dak didn't have a mustache, so he was long gone as soon as he said that.
Oh, he had way too much confidence for someone with no facial hair.
Yeah.
We like
Rookie
to keep
mistake.
it. Yeah, we like to keep our confidence down here.
That's it for our patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon, where we leave every submitted question a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. We have tons of other rewards, like audio commentaries for the films and every new Star Wars series premiering on Disney+. We also record video reactions to every new series as we watch them for the first time. We're doing book clubs to discuss every new Star Wars book as they release. We have behind-the-scenes content, comic reactions every Wednesday, and more. All of that is available right now on our Patreon if you're interested.
On to YouTube questions. Beskar Hunter asks if we'll see more Book of shows to flesh out more Mandalorian secondary characters.
I thought that was an interesting idea and something I hadn't considered. I don't think that Book of is going to be an ongoing subtitle, but maybe. I mean, it sounds like the Book of Boba Fett is going to get multiple seasons, just because... And this doesn't mean anything definite, but like all of the crew gear says Book of Boba Fett Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll likely get a Season 2, but I do think that's interesting to just say, we could get Book of Fennec Shand, Book of Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I mean, Book of Boba Fett just kind of like rolls off the tongue. I don't know that I want to see Book of insert character here. It feels kind of like every side character needs a fully fleshed out story about them. And like they've done that with a lot of characters in books, like literal books. So I just don't really want to see the live action stuff bogged down with like, oh, you like this character? Here's their own show and it's called Book of this. And
I'm with you. It's like, and it all depends on the character. I mean, the two I mentioned, I'm like, I would be interested in seeing those stories. But yeah, I don't want the Mandalorian to just shoot off into a billion spinoffs. I feel like they should be able to tell that story in The Mandalorian and the spinoffs that we're already getting.
Yeah.
I don't want one era to just start to dominate all of Star Wars storytelling. I'm always a big proponent of variety. I want to keep doing prequel stories. I want to keep doing original trilogy, like keep doing all the eras, High Republic. So everyone is getting something all the time. So I don't want to see all of the TV series be like, it's all in this post-Return of the Jedi time.
Isn't that a song, A Little Bit of Everything?
All of the time?
All of the time.
Yeah, give me the Bo Burnham special of Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, also, because you brought up Bo-Katan, that feels like if they gave her a spinoff and called it the Book of Bo-Katan, I feel like that kind of takes away from her stuff in The Mandalorian. Like, whenever we do see her pop up and she is involved in the story, it's like, oh, cool, yes, we're getting Bo-Katan in the story. But then, I don't know, there's a good chance that if they gave her her own series and said, yeah, this is Book of Bo-Katan, it might go off into a direction that nobody really likes.
Well, there are thoughts that she might be a part of Rangers of the New Republic, so she might already be getting her own spinoff. Who knows? I'm not expecting the Book of thing to be something that continues on, but I guess we need to wait and see the series itself. Who knows? Maybe there is a literal book in it, and then we'll be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Well, I think I said this a while back, that Book of Boba Fett should open up like the old Disney stories that open up with the Once Upon a Time actual
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Which is why they put that in there.
Yeah. Matthew Kelly wants to know if we could see the Knights of Ren in The Mandalorian.
So this is specifically building off of the fact that they are now part of the galaxy before Return of the Jedi. They're in the comics. They have dealings with Crimson Dawn, whatever they might be. So in theory, yeah, they could show up in The Mandalorian. I'm not expecting that to happen. I don't often think, I think it's been historically proven that publishing comics books, they don't usually point towards what's actually going to happen in live action.
Yeah, I don't see them showing up in The Mandalorian. I like kind of the mystery and mystique of them, and in the way that like I don't really want to know a whole lot more, because I feel like it's kind of like when Death Troopers started talking. I was like, no thanks.
Yeah,
they're not as scary now, and I love when they come in The Rise of Skywalker, and the stormtroopers like, oh, ghouls. Like,
I always thought he said cool the first time. And I was like, that stormtrooper is all of us. We've been waiting to see them. Cool. Knights of Ren, cool. Rad.
I liked them in Terrifying Tales too, though.
They were fun.
Speaking of like making something goofy, that's a good way to do it. But that's what you expect from Lego.
Yeah. I just think that the fact that they're showing up in the comics probably means that there isn't anything currently involving them in live action. That, we have nothing else in the pipeline, so Charles Soule, you want to use them in your comic? Go for it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to contradict or mess with anything else that we're working on.
Jocasta Didn't Know asks how Boba Fett would react to learning about Omega.
I think they specifically want to know, would Boba Fett be jealous of her? Would Boba Fett be happy to learn that he had more family? I think I hope that he would be happy to know that there was more family out there.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it would be kind of a roller coaster of emotion for him. He'd probably be shocked and concerned, and then assuming they meet at some point, then I have to assume he would want to protect her. I don't know if he would necessarily be like, hey sis, what's up? Like, yeah, he wouldn't want to like kill her or anything like that.
Yeah. It's something I can really see going both ways. Like, immediately I'm kind of wondering if I spoke too soon. Like, would he be happy? Or would he, like, Jango Fett instilled such a sense of legacy into Boba Fett that he might be like, oh, well, now this is a threat to any potential legacy. Like, she could steal my thunder. But he also doesn't seem to have a whole lot of connection with the clones themselves, the clone troopers. So he might not think anything of it. He's just like, oh, another clone. I mean, she's different and she's special, but she doesn't go by the Fett name. So he might not care at all.
Yeah. I imagine that scene from Battlestar Galactica when Adama sees the other 8 after the other one has died, and he kind of looks her up and down like, what? That would be like Boba Fett's reaction.
Yeah, I could see that. Whatever they feel like doing, any storyteller, I'm like, I think anything that they do, I would be willing to buy into. Especially because we don't know a whole lot about Boba Fett in that era, exactly what happened to him between then and Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. So he's kind of an open book that can be changed.
More importantly, though, I think we're going to learn the answer to this question in The Bad Batch Season 2.
I can see that happening, and hope that it does.
Courtney Nielsen Carlson wants to know how the Jedi identified children strong in the Force within the Republic.
I looked into this, and outside of just the fact that there are Jedi Seekers who go out searching for Jedi Force-sensitive children, we don't really know. Qui-Gon mentions that if Anakin were born in the Republic, he would have been identified early. I think it's probably just if parents realize, oh, my kid's floating all of his toys around, I'm going to give the Jedi a call. I think that probably people within the Republic were on board with that. They probably thought that it was a noble thing. They even explored that, or were going to explore that with Ahsoka and Plo Koon's story, is that one of their own being taken by the Jedi was a big honor.
Yeah. I imagine there were, recruiters just kind of, around. Maybe it's like modeling where recruiters used to, hang out at malls and just be like, hey, you.
Yeah.
You want to do a commercial?
Jedi were just hanging out at the local temples, and parents were coming by like, my baby's Force sensitive, and they totally weren't, but they were just trying to get in on that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think they were running around doing blood tests on every child or anything like that. It was probably more just within the Republic, if you had a Force-sensitive kid, it was probably up to the parent whether or not they contacted anyone. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion and get a guaranteed answer. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.